you know, most of you have probably come thinking it's a business planning. Business planning is the key. Well, planning is the key. We have to plan. We have to design. We have to be architects. There's no worry about that. We have to be experts at that. We need to be clever designers of our business. But the traditional business plan, where you look into every nook and cranny, try and predict the next 5 years, is just crap. That's for corporate businesses that have been around for 5 years and they want to predict the next 5 years. Fair enough. But in the startup world, business planning is not what we need. We need something that's very flexible, something that when we've tried at the market that some product didn't work, that we come back and we can change. That we can change our target market. Instead of going for this target market, which don't value what we're doing, we're going to sell the same thing to this market who believe in what we're doing and prepared to pay us. We'll make that switch. So this is the business model, and why plans... Well, why ideas don't progress is usually that, isn't it? Scrambled eggs, you know. We've got, you know, Dennis talked about it before, I've just got so many ideas, and what happens, they just, and it just becomes a cobweb. We do need to do some planning. And this is a fantastic book. This guy sat down and came up with the business model, and he is the father of this idea of a business model. There's a few others that have been developed since then, and as those of you that want to pursue it, I've got some other models you can use, but this one's a fairly good one, and it's pretty well accepted through, you know, the Start Your Own Business community as being a good thing. So I will load that up for you. It's a PDF, fairly big document. The guy generously gives it away. He's got a freemium model where he gives away an awful lot, and then if you want him, you have to charge a fortune for him to come and do his classes and so forth. But a business model is a method of doing business by which an entity can sustain itself. So remember I talked before about, you know, we want to get a business that returns those things, that pays you a wage and gives you a return on investment. The only way we're going to do that is to come up with a really good business model. The business model spells out how the company makes money by specifying where it's positioned in the value chain. So that positioning in the value chain is about 9 different components that we need to play with. And they're boxes that we need to go and try things, we need to change. One change in a business model or component can completely change the potential success of your business. Talking about physical and virtual, this is sort of obviously things that we've, one of the concepts that we're involved in now is that we deal with virtual goods and we deal with virtual delivery channels. And we did, in the olden days, you know, I'm going back to my early business, there was no such thing. Everything was delivered like this, books from a bookstore. So you bought books from a bookstore, you know. It was a physical place and it was a physical goods. And that's, I only say this because you need to think about where you're going to position yourself on this matrix. Then you can buy books from Amazon. So you're still buying a tangible product, a physical product, but you're buying it from a virtual space, from a virtual platform. Then you can get virtual products like a digital multimedia CD, you know, which is not, it's got all of your content in digital form, but you're still buying it from a physical bookstore. Or ultimately, you get a download an ebook from Lulu. Lulu is a ebook platform where you can buy books. So here's a virtual platform selling virtual products. So that's the options that we have these days that we probably didn't have, you know, 20 years ago when I got, 30 years ago when I got started. All I could do was open a retail shop and sell stuff. But now I want to be that. I want to be virtual, because the virtual in terms of scalability and in terms of investment is so small investment and so wonderful in terms of scalability, provided that you built that profile, provided that you get found in the 10 billion web pages that are out there at the moment. There are 10 billion web pages. Google does some stupid thing like 100 million search things every month or something. Like there's just, we're talking about getting found out there. So that's why we talked about that personal branding and that before. Types of business model. There's a whole lot of different types of business model. We've probably heard the government talking about it, wasn't they? I'll let you go at 8:30, so no one, who's got to go? You got to go?
I can stay back to
Okay, no, we'll just go till 8:30. We'll save this up for next for Thursday. But there's lots of different models. Remember, they wanted to smash the people smugglers business model. So obviously they'd been to Pete's class too and learned about business model. No, I haven't heard anyone like that. But again, you're looking at a physical and a virtual. So let's look through them. So you can set up a brokerage, which is a market where you bring together buyers and sellers. So if you want to go, where do the markets you guys go to? West End? West End. So someone actually owns West End as a business, and you pay that person to go and sell there. So they set up a physical market, or eBay is obviously a market as well, isn't it, where people put up goods and people come along and sell them. You can do advertising, so you attract an audience and then you sell advertising. Newspapers used to be. Blogs is another way. So if you've got a blog, you can attract enough people, you can put advertising on there. Google AdWords or Google AdSense. Google will allow you to sell and make money from that. Information, stockbrokers sell it, or market research firms in the virtual. A merchant, most of us understand buying and selling stuff. Well, bricks and mortar retailers, which is what I've had an awful lot of, but Amazon is in the virtual space. They buy and sell books. Manufacturers like Coke or online education, we manufacture products that we sell virtually. Affiliate, where you act as agents for others. Real estate, they act as agents for sellers and buyers, obviously. And whereas drop shipping, probably a new concept for you, but drop shipping is where you take someone else's product from China and you market it for them and you take a percentage. You don't actually hold any product. The products are held at the manufacturers. You just do all the marketing. And you sell the stuff, the customer pays you, you then pay the drop shipper then supplies it to the customer. So it's a pretty good model. Early days, still a lot of teething, but not a bad one. Community, where you have free plus premium products, clubs or Facebook do that. Subscription service, like a magazine or a dating site. You pay money to be on a dating site. A utility where you pay for use, car rental or photo library. You can actually sign up to a photo library and you pay, and every time you draw down a photo, it costs you so many dollars. So the thing is, there are lots of different business models. These are some concepts and ones that you probably want to look through and say, with my idea, is there any of those that I could probably apply? We've then got to break that into 9 components and build your particular model. A business model disguises the rationale. You've got to remember, we talked about before about trying to convince yourself and then convince others. You know, it helps you explain. It helps you understand yourself what you're trying to do, and then it helps you easily explain to other people what you're doing. So it describes how an organisation creates, delivers, and captures value. So we talked about that value with that glass of water. Well, how can we set up a business that's going to capture, that's going to create that value? And like I say, some of that creating value is simply selling it to a different market. How can we deliver that value? How does it get delivered? Through a physical channel or door-to-door? How do we do it? And how do we capture, how do we get the value for ourselves? So that's it. And I'm not going to go beyond that today. But a business model canvas, because I've got a handout for you. So the business model canvas deals with the 9 components. And it's not bad. I mean, there's parts of it that you could tweak, and there's other people that have come up with new improved versions of this. But as a basic concept, this one isn't bad. So when we talk about business planning now, not a business plan, we're talking about this model. It's 1 page. And the idea is that you keep working with this page, and then you put another page on when you've changed something, when you've changed your market, when you've changed your product, when you've changed your partner. You create another model until you've built a model by testing in the market. You build a model that you can believe in and that you can convince someone else. And that's one of the most important things, is that you can go to an experienced entrepreneur, I guess myself, and you can tell me about your business model and I get goosebumps. Please, don't give me heartburn, you know. Some people tell me their business model and I physically get sick. There's no, honestly, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, that's not very good. I'm not well, you know, please stop talking. That what you're telling me is either scaring me to death, or it's just I can see you losing your house and your family, and you know. Whereas others, I just go, oh, wow, that's fantastic. Now that just gets you the business model. Then you got to execute. That's another game as well. But you know, I would love, if you took your business model to an experienced entrepreneur, they should feel that. They should just say, not so much wow, but that's got an incredibly good chance of success. That you put that together really, really well, and they'll be looking for these 9 components and how they all work together, and they do work together. So just running around them. So customer segment, I guess, customer segment is remember who you're going to target, and Americans are broken down into 66 different target groups that you can target. We'll probably just more talk much smaller groups than that. You're probably then talking about your value proposition. Value proposition is what's in it for the customer. What are they getting out of it? Remember, we're doing both. We're doing satisfying hunger, which is that physical component, but I'm looking for that subjective margin. What's the underlying thing that you're doing? Because that's what people are buying. People are buying features. Let's do that again. People buy benefits. They don't buy features. You carry on about, but our product's going to have all these things. You know, your thing is 7 foot tall. It's got 18 branches. It has 300 baubles. That's not what they're buying. What they're really buying is peace of mind. They're buying the underlying thing, and you need to identify that in that value proposition. Very important that you understand underlying value. What relationship will you have with those customers? You know, is it going to be automated? Is it going to be one-to-one? You know, how are you going to do that? What else? How are you going to deliver? Channels? What channel are you going to deliver? Door to door? Are they going to come to you? Are you going to do it online? How are you going to reach them? Over here, you're then talking about what key activities that you're doing. What are your activities? Tell us what you have to do to make this business work. Tell me what partners you need. Who do you need to partner with to make this business work? What key resources do you need to make this business work? You know, drill down into that. And in the resources, how many of them do you control, and which of those resources are unfair advantages? That's a really unusual thing. You know, I'm allowed to use this because he lets me, but Dennis has an unfair advantage when he talks about disability, doesn't he? They're not going to listen to me, are they? You know. Now, this is what you need. Pete, you know, I'll just finish on this. My grandmother in England spoke on disability, you see, and this is during the war. And she would get up to the platform and she would talk to all these soldiers that actually, you know, lost bits and they're all going, yeah, what would you know about? What would you know about disability? Look at you, you're a woman, you look fantastic, all this sort of stuff. And as she'd get to the end of the thing, she'd pull up her dress and she'd pick up a spoon and she would whack her leg because it was a tin leg. But she wouldn't tell them that, you know. She would talk about disability, and right at the end she would say, I'm with you because I've actually lost my leg as well and I had a tin leg. So I just bring that up. But I'm just saying, you know, even though this sounds really weird, but that's an unfair advantage because in that market, he's got it sewn up. In this class, I'm sorry, none of us are going to really, no one's going to employ us, no one's going to say, let's get Pete in to talk about disability. What? Why? Where's the value proposition? You know? Then we get down to some pretty important things. How are we going to earn this revenue? And there's so many ways you can earn revenue. We've got to find the right one that works for you. And what are the cost structures that relate to that revenue? What are the fixed costs? What are the variable costs? And you answer those for me. And you do it in a comprehensive way, and you do it in a way that makes perfect sense to me, and that they all blend together and they all work together. And you tell me about how you've proven each of those things, how you've proven that your value proposition is wanted by that target market. We've got something. We're going someplace. Doesn't mean we've got a winning idea, but we've got something we now start working on. And the course is designed around actually then going out and testing each of those components. Rather than spending 6 months writing a business plan and then arriving on the market with, hey, this is my business plan, and goes, huh? What's that? We're actually, by the time we've launched, you know, and Phil and me have been working on this idea for a long time, by the time we've launched, every aspect of that business model has been tested, has been tried. All the things that we're selling here are going to be things that we've already tested and tried, and so we've proved the concept. I won't go past there tonight. We need to dig into this. I think I'll just give you the canvas, and you can take it home and give it a study of it. So if you'd like to just take one, pass it on.